Bwana Governor, before tukuachilia 2027. Unarudi Nairobi ama unalenga juu?
Mungu mbele, you know our city has never had a chance to have an administration that has served enough time to make a difference.
Just say the answer, you.
So,
did you listen to the hot breakfast this morning? Here's what you missed.
The rains exposed him. The hawkers were off streets for a few days. They are back, making it a disco.
No, that's not true.
Sustainable regulations.
We've done several cleanups. I've led them myself.
Yeah.
Every Sunday evening.
Every Sunday evening?
Yes. All night. All night. This Sunday we were joined by my football team, Nairobi United, and MCAs around 35.
Yeah.
So it's picking up momentum, but now we're going to go to the estates. This Green Army do a good job. They do an amazing job, and you see them clearing out those drainages. The problem with drainage is not blockage as much right now. It's mainly just a capacity issue. Capacity. The rains we have are extremely higher than before ever.
Yeah.
And it comes down torrentious for like an hour, 2 hours, and it keeps going. So just the capacity, the same way, and I think I've overused this example. Your sink can be flowing, yeah. But if you pour a whole bucket at a go, it's gonna flood and then it'll settle and go. But of course, we need to expand, that kind of infrastructure. You need to expand it, and we're working on it. The areas that were flooding, they're no longer flooding. Remember, Ojijo, Kipande, both sides used to flood. We did an intervention with Kenha. The Kipande side is not flooding. We've seen flooding now just on Ojijo. And it's because the drainage has always been 600 mm. Now, we've expanded this other one to 1200. We also need to get the other one expanded. So it's something continuous that we must keep doing. And also based on the resources. But town is clean, and the hawkers, they keep trying to come back. The numbers have gone down. I gave them the back lanes. I said, please, Music or back lanes, let people walk. We removed the signage that was, blocking people. You could not even see. It was very claustrophobic. You couldn't see ahead. You couldn't see far. But now you can be able to walk, and I promise we'll sustain it.
But usiku kanjo anarudi sana usiku.
What was kiangi ukisema tokeni tu, don't get out.
But what's the big plan? Like, why is you wakatoka? Because they are fending for their families. Isn't the livelihoods in Afakwa sustained?
Wanna hustle.
Yeah, but there needs to be order.
Yeah. So what's the long-term plan for ensuring that kuna order that's sustainable and also these livelihoods are not cut short?
Of course, you continue building markets. Yeah, we've progressed so well on Mutuini. We're doing 20 markets in Nairobi. So if you go to Mihango, Jujo market is going on, Kawa West market is going on, South B, we're about to start. There are whole 10 different markets that we're building. We're doing toy market, and just to, yes, everyone must fend for themselves and their families, but your right to fend for your family doesn't remove somebody else's right, to also fend for their family. Everything must be done in an orderly way, and it's a capital city, so we'll give them areas to trade. That's what we're saying, and I didn't say get out completely. I said just do it on the back street or the back lanes. Now, if you want to block the people and harass the people who you want to sell from you, can you take that excuse that they're offending? No, it's not right. It's not right. So there must be order. There will be order. I promise you.
Another question.
Tuende kwa barabara bana.
Yes.
Tuingie kwa barabara.
Zinakuudhi mbaya.
It's horrible, man.
Kilimani.
Wow.
Umepita hapo lini mwisho bona kazi imeanza?
Wapi?
Hapo karibu Eastlands Hotel. It's true.
Kinaruma Road, Chania, we're coming. We're doing it. Look at Jogo Road, work is going on. Okay,
hapa Chiromo mulifanyaje? Mulitengeneza 100 meters alafu wakaenda zao.
No. And you see also, it's good to explain. And not to shift blame, but to explain that there are roads that are under my purview. There are roads that are under the national government. Like the one you're mentioning, that is Kenha. But we're working together. I was on that road with the minister, CS Chichir.
Wayaki si yako?
No, Wayaki is not ours. Jogo Road is not ours.
Kempinski si yako?
No. That's an A104. That is an international link road. It's under Kenya, not even Kura. That's the Kenyan National Highways Authority. But we agreed that, look, let's work on this together, because the people of Kenya, the people of Nairobi, don't care under whose purview it is. They want it done.
Correct.
And you remember we've had a long run-in with the national government and the National Assembly about the road maintenance levy fund. We're in court as governors, because anyone who uses fuel pays for that levy. That levy is to do roads. There are two categories of roads. There's national roads and county roads. Why would it only be applied to national roads? Yet county roads are actually more much more. Like what we're talking about here, Kindaruma Road, Chania Road, Kilimani Road, Wood Avenue, those are county roads, But when you don't give the counties the resources to do, to fix that road, and of course we have to rely on our collections, then you see the problem. Then you see most of the roads we've been able to do in the last 2 years, quite a number of them have been from our own collections, and there are many. Every single ward in Nairobi, there's a road project. There's a road. Well, it is, if you go to Kilimani, where there's Oyster Bay, it was done. What do you call this? Nyangumi was done. If you go to Langata, Mugumoini, everywhere, there's that project going on. But we do need more resources, and I'm glad that the approach that the government is now taking is to securitize this road maintenance levy fund.
Juicy ulipata pesa from the president. I saw you were very grateful.
Si kupata do as such, it's to agree on a budget to fix many of these roads. So we're starting with 4 billion. And that is what you're seeing being applied, in many of these areas. We're doing a cooperation agreement because the Urban Areas and Cities Act says the capital city, which is also the seat of the national government,
yes,
the diplomatic headquarters of this region, needs a special arrangement with the national government. You cannot expect Nairobi to just get the same treatment or allocation as any other county out there because of its significance. Today the heads of state from the whole of East Africa coming for a summit on the DRC and for an emergency summit. Every other day there's something big. And so that is one clause that has never been used properly. It has never been applied. And it's in many areas, in roads, in diplomacy, in security. We're getting an arrangement now with the national police to work together to curb issues of vandalism. People complain about lights, street lights. Naziweka zinatolewa. We put bins, they're taken because of scrap metal. We have workers who are stabbed on Outer Ring Road recently. There's a video, by vandalists, and they're armed. So you see, if my officers just have a rungu and this one is armed, it doesn't work. We have to work with the police. And also we have to be vigilant as Nairobians and as Kenyans. I've seen videos showing a young guy, possibly a street boy, vandalizing a barrier on the road, and it's a video everyone is just watching. And then tomorrow, when the accidents, 37% of the accidents in Kenya, fatalities, are in Nairobi. 37% of all fatalities, the Nairobi, Outer Ring Road, the Eastern Bypass, Northern Bypass, Jogo, and it's pedestrians. And innocent people walking back home.
Hit and run.
13 people die on a daily basis, according to the latest
1-3.
statistics.
It's madness.
13.
It's crazy. So, Governor,
so we'll fix the roads. That's my assurance.
But do you think we no longer uphold the building codes that we had in Nairobi? In Kilimani, for instance, where we are located, when I realized that buildings are coming up every day. Every day. I don't think it was meant to be an area that will accommodate skyscrapers. But nowadays,
it is.
What happened to the building codes?
It is true that there had been the lack of current plans, because if you look at Nairobi, the first plans is the 1928 master plan. After the 1901 plan, which was not really a master plan, 1958. The last real master plan was 76. That is the last real building code. So anything above 4 floors in most places should not even be there.
Yeah.
But after that, we have the 2021 policy. There is what I've sent to the Assembly. Yesterday there was a ruling as well about Raptor Road, where the residents, went and said, look, we don't want this place to change. We don't want its character to change.
Yeah.
And the ruling was like, for now, just use this most recent policy, not even a refreshed code, which is restricting to around 14, 15 floors. We're looking at it. But still, the city is growing. That time the city had hundreds of thousands of people. In 2002 it was 2 million. Now we're at 7 million. So unless we want urban sprawl, what we call urban decay, where a city doesn't have densification, and so you have to wake up at 4 a.m. to drop your child to school across the city. Most modern cities, actually, you go up, but you create the infrastructure that is supporting its infrastructure. Even on climate action, you'll be shocked that on a heat map in the States, and you can look it up, the greenest part of it in the East Coast is Manhattan. You'd think it's the other way around, but it's the greenest part. It's the most climate-friendly part because people walk, people are cycling. They're shorter distances.
Central Park.
Your Central Park. Like we have Uhuru Park and now Central Park as well.
Yeah.
So we will go up. We'll still have to go up.
But the problem with us is that we are putting development before infrastructure.
And then we don't have the drainage.
Yes, the buildings are going up, population in increase, but the roads ni zile are 70s.
Alafu sewer ni ile.
No, there's a lot of tasfida bana.
Hakuna sheria ya kusema that unapojenga jengo lako lazima pia provide maji yenye itakuwa ikitumika pale inapitia wapi, uchafu na
utakuwa and most of them do. For instance, you're spoken about the high-rise buildings in Kileleshwa and the flooding. The capacity, you've not seen that flooding there, or Kilimani for most part. But we have said, and I've even announced recently, that we will not give occupational license to these guys who are destroying infrastructure as they build. And I'm having a meeting soon with the engineering association, IEK, engineering, Institute of Engineers of Kenya, to also get their ideas. We have amazing engineers in the city. We have great guys. Sometimes resources in Yoshida, but you can see the ideas that they have. So of course you must restore the road. We see all these big trucks pre-cast concrete on our pavements.
And then they don't even bother to fix the roads afterwards.
They don't. So I've said I will not give you occupational license. I've done an audit of those buildings. We had set up a team that looked at all buildings coming up in the last 2 years. I'm waiting for that report. It should be coming. And it has the private sector in it. It has the Architectural Association, the Engineers Board, the physical planners, etc. Because you must also create order in the built environment, and make sure there is still green spaces. We still have our trees. I had a big fight the other day, and for a while with Kenya Power, because they were cutting down our trees because of the lines. It's like, look, what's more important? Is it the tree or that line can't go underground? It can go elsewhere. We can do a service duct. And so all these things that have been going wrong for many, many decades need resolution. It's not instant resolution, but we're making steps towards that, for sure.
Did you see what's happening in Parklands?
Parklands. What's happening in Parklands?
Wahindi wameuza.
Wanatoka.
Na wanauzia wala watu.
Wagani.
And they're building 15-story apartments in Parklands. What's going on in Parklands?
I don't know why 15 stories will shock you, because you've lived in places with 50 stories.
Yeah, but
60 stories.
There's a capacity. Easy has in a lift.
It's not allowed. You can't go. You can't build a building that high without a lift.
You cannot.
You cannot.
It's illegal.
It's illegal.
Right now unasema if wase wanajenga na wanaharibu miundo msingi, they will not get occupational licenses.
They will not get occupational licenses, and many of those constructions we're stopping for them to restore, because you won't wait 2 years with a bad road. But if you go to this channel you're talking about, or Kindaruma, you'll see the direction which the trucks come loaded is what is more messed than when they leave empty. And so I've told my chief officer for physical planning, bring all these guys together. We must have a discussion, because we can't allow that, and we can't wait for you to finish your construction for 2 years with a bad road. You must continue. You must maintain it as you build your building,
as you go,
and you must abide by the rules. There are many we've stopped. Those hue and cry, to the extent that at some point there was a delegation of Kenya that went to China. And one of the big bosses there complained and said, look, our buildings are being stopped in Nairobi. And so the president came and told him, boss, some of these guys, and that's why you saw me meeting that association later, and tell them, you must abide by the rules. We have rules. And he said, actually, it's true. Many people have complained, there are certain developments. Yesterday, I stopped one on Dennis Pritt, right next to State House. Someone is trying to do another, shopping mall, right next to State House.
What?
Right next to State House, And they have an approval. So you see, I also have officers who many times do the wrong thing.
An approval from you.
It's your office.
That's why I cancelled it. Because at first it was stopped saying you must look for DOD approval from the Department of Defense. I don't know how they got that. So once they got that, my officer said, okay, since you have the Department of Defense, who are we to say it's insecure?
They're corrupt, obviously. Someone has put down some money.
But you see, he is basing it on an approval that has come from the military, because the concern is a security concern.
Yes.
But he's not going beyond his limitation to actually use common sense. Says, no, this is wrong. So I've told them, I'm so sorry. You have to do that elsewhere.
Yeah.
Because also beyond approval by security forces, there's also the character of an area. Ukienda kwa Facebook yangu.
Yeah.
Do you see how many times we've been pushing and having those sessions with the ministry, with Kura, with Kena? As recently as Monday last week. That is why you've seen this work starting here around, Chania, etc. I push, but I can't dictate their budget. Their budget is passed at the National Assembly. What I can dictate and control is the county government budget. And that's why we're telling Nairobians, please, guys, let's make sure people are compliant in terms of, paying their dues as well. You can imagine, Jeff, the burden is carried by very few Nairobians. There are 255,000, land parcels in the city. Only 50,000 accounts.
And the rest?
The rest are nowhere to be found. So 50,000 accounts are people paying rates on
Land
behalf
rates.
for everybody else. Land rates are the biggest source of revenue for a country. Yes, I've grown the revenue. We've raised the highest amount in the history of Nairobi. Jeff, you can imagine, we want these roads done. We want drainage done. My brother here wants to talk about Stadia. Where is the money from? The money is from what we collect. Now, if only 50,000 accounts, okay, maybe some own 2 or 3 parcels, and we're actually doing a thorough audit. I asked for that information from the Ministry of Lands, because we had 175,000 parcels in our records. I've digitized all revenue collection, all streams. We're the first county to do that. All 124 streams are digitized. If you want to pay, go to nairobiservices.go.ke, open your account. And so we're going to take action, and legal action. And the Physical Land Use Planning Act gives us the authority to do that.
But, Governor, people don't give a damn, for lack of a better word.
Oh, yeah, when your property is being auctioned, you'll give a damn. Yes.
It's going to go that?
Yes. Yes. Through the court process. It's been done in Kakamega. It's been done in Trans Nzoia. We're giving guys time. Last year we did waivers. This year there's no waiver. I'm sorry.
People have to pay their dues.
You have to pay your dues. The most I'll do, and I'm considering, together with my cabinet, we had our 46th meeting yesterday, the Nairobi cabinet, is to say if you pay before March, which is normally the rates deadline, we'll give you a 5% discount, if you pay in February. That's what we're trying to look at. But beyond that, there's no... People say, wacha ningoje, wataweka billboard wakisema waiver on penalties and waiver on... No, let's not wait for that, because you're on the road today.
Yeah.
You want your garbage collected today. You want the city cleaned today. We're feeding kids 316,000 every day at 5 shillings. Hospitals, we're running around another 130 or so hospitals in Nairobi. They need medicine. Yeah, they need doctors. I have thousands of doctors and nurses that need to be paid. Where is this money coming from? So I mean, there are those who make, want to pick a shortcut. You have a fake UBP license, Unified Business Permit. And what we did last year at the beginning, we turned all our licenses into one license. This would be 6-7 licenses. Unatafuta ya fire, utafute food hygiene, utafute single business permit. It's now one, just one license.
And how long does that take to get?
It's instant. Just go *647# or go to nairobiservices.go.ke.
Pole Governor,
*647#.
664.
No,
647. 047. *647.
*647. Unataka kupatia wase?
Wapatia watu.
647.
647#. It's the same one. I mean, you can do your parking, you can do your licenses, you can do your, and then on your account, you print out your own license, UBP. It has a QR code. You put it, you can verify. But as what people do, unatuma mtu town naenda kulipia City Hall. And you're also welcome to come. We have a brand new customer service center, world class. Very nice. Come and look at it.
You can walk in.
You can walk in. You'll get your ticket number. You sit down. You'll be called up. But sometimes what people do, the person you've sent, anapata broker hapo pahali, anaenda anaprintiwa kitu fake, aneka. If you send somebody to get your license, fanya your QR code. Verify, e-verify.
But Governor, the cartels have been there since time immemorial, before you were born.
But we don't need to allow them to continue being there.
Si bado wako huko.
So tufunge hii town tu kila mtu anayewacha. It must lazima work. It must be done.
Una deal aje na cartels, bwana Governor. Yes. Una deal aje na homa cartels.
Na wako.
I've always told you since I don't know when, the first way to deal with cartels is to refuse to be part of them. Refuse. They will entice you. They will try and, compromise you. They'll try and rope you in. Just refuse. Then you have the moral authority.
Governor, if you can...
Have they tried to compromise you? Have they tried to entice you?
No one comes with a name tag written cartel. But if you look at what business they've been doing, how they've been doing it, and it's been fake, you can tell they are. Of course they've tried. And many of them have been annoyed. A lot of the negative onslaught you've seen, driven. You see driven onslaught. Like yesterday, I saw some... poster saying that I've said I can't fix the road. If you want, I mean, it was fake. It was not by Kenyans. I wouldn't say something that dumb. But you can see what they do when we went into what we call e-procurement, for instance, where every procurement process is on IFMIS. the information management, financial management information system.
Yeah.
There are many people who had, now those cartels, who had, of course, a huge industry of fake LPOs from River Road. Hewa, supply hewa. Today you can't do that on that system. You can't. Because the budget is there, the entire procurement process is there, the delivery process is there, receiving it is there, and then the payment is done over there. And in instances where you actually need to do an emergency, procurement of IFMIS, of course, still through the laws of procurement, it has to be a cabinet resolution. It is no one's personal discretion. Yeah. And so, tunafikiri wamefurahi? Umawafungia soko.
Correct. Correct.
City Stadium. East London ya hub ya futa big time. Hata tona yako juzi nilifurahi timu ya Gedho ndio ilishinda ile mita.
Ilishinda tena.
So,
City Stadium inaendelea. We're doing Woodley Stadium, City Stadium, Kiumbuini, Mwiki Stadium. We're doing quite a few. Last night, this is what I wanted to show you. Just yesterday, this is the guy who's doing Kiumbuini. And it's the same person who did Dandora. Mwana vile Dandora ni fiti. Ni kali sana.
Ndio inaoveruse sai.
I mean, because it's there. Kitu shida ya kwanza kuna stadium. Ukijenga ina overuse. Wewe unataka tu.
Kweli, that's why city inafai kuje pale pale.
No, that's why we're building the rest. But it's about resources. You see what is asking. Your Excellency, kindly assist with settlement of the above to enable us to keep up with the works without interruptions. He's still doing it. And this certificate he has just raised. I told him, yes, it's in the plan for January, depending on our collections. Because also sometimes you realize counties get their allocations very late. Yeah? All the allocations that we get from national government, the entire amount for us goes into salary. So all development you see is from what you collect. Because, with 18,000 staff in the city, monthly our payroll is around 1.4 billion or so.
Monthly,
yeah. Because you see, Nairobi is a service county. You're talking about drainage, you're talking about cleaning, you're talking about sweeping. There are no robots to do that. Yeah, and so the development expenditures, like the new trucks you see I bought the other day, the refuse compactors, Zile Camero, this Stadia that we're talking about. In fact, I asked him for the design kwanza kiasi. Tukiendelea, you see, it's quite what you ordered versus what was delivered.
Correct. And I talk in the ama.
Nani?
Your contractor.
It's Kanjet actually. And the structures are the same. We've seen it. If you go to Dandora, and I'll tell you, kila weekend, my friend, kumeshona. There is, the economy of that place has changed. There are 13 shops we've given the young people from around there, from the 13 football teams that call it home.
So it's a spillover, Ama.
There is car washes. There are this wale mama wanapika, serving the boys there, the mathris. It changes the economy of a place. So that is now Kangemi. That is what is going to be at Kangemi. I will get you the City Stadium status as well. But I want them done. It's in my interest for it to be done. Remember, I was a patron of Kenya Professional Boxing. Yes, niko patron of KPBC. I love sports. Niko patron of FC Leopards.
I know.
Now I have Nairobi United.
Are you still a patron, Ama?
No. Niliachia watu wengine waendelee. So at a natural grassroots team, we're number 1 in the
National Super
NSL. We're number 1, meaning tunaingia Premier League, and I'm going to take it to the top. Because I love, you nurture that grassroots football. You should have seen the Super Cup. 748 teams.
Wow.
748 teams. Now 34 are ladies. Because they were starting at the sub-county.
Yeah.
These ones are from the wards. You should have seen how the fans were coming. The talent we were getting. One of the players I signed on to Nairobi United was the MVP from Kawasaki in South B of the Super Cup. So it's growing. It's growing. So for boxing, I think really ni kurudisha hizo social hall. Number 1, because boxing is done in that environment. I chase you kwa uwanja, returning the social halls, getting facilities for them. So kama Mudhuru Boxing Club kule Jeri, wapi, Shauri,
Kangemi.
Yeah, juzi hata nilikuwa naongea na Ukwiri. Anakuja kuniletea mshipi Rayton. These are my buddies. If you ask Elizabeth and Diego, she knows the people we've supported, Fatuma Zarika, and now we want them to be able to go as well down. Sasa watu wa rugby wamekasirika, wakasema Sax, you're a rugby guy. Sasa kaja Super Cup, sijui boxing, you're looking for votes or you want sports. So I told them this year the Super Cup will include rugby. So we're going to do a rugby tournament
in Nairobi.
And I'll ask all these players, many of them, my friends who were there with them in high school, who are now coaches, Kina Asido, Kina Nani. We'll tell them now, guys, go back to your constituency, build a serious team. Build a serious team. So we'll ask our stars. Yeah, you've seen them in Australia, Juicy.
Yes.
Please go build a team, bring it up. Rugby is also a great frontier. Kwanza sevens, we're good, naturally good, we're fast, nini, So sports is a function of counties. We're going to build it. But again, Jeff, I'm saying all of this, there's no unlimited envelope. If I want, it is my desire today to just wave a wand and pap, all drainage is fixed by a snap of a finger. But the reality is you have to just work at it every day. Push people, talk to people, explain to them that this is why you need to pay your parking.
By the way, speaking of BRT, you've been promising us that for the last 3-4 years. Okay, you went there then, but the administration before you, and
National
then now,
government,
and then you come in. They painted that pink lipstick on the highway.
I think I don't.
That is it. But BRT, what's happening, Governor?
No, the problem with the international financing. So we sit in Namata. I'm the vice chairman of Nairobi Metropolitan Transport Authority. The chair is the minister. Again, showing the centrality of the city. European Investment Bank, together with the French Development Agency, came to see me immediately I got into office. Because I'd been interacting with them. Remember, I was the senator as well. They said, look, we have 74 million euros ready. There's 300 coming. We need the cabinet approval. It took us a while to get it, unfortunately. It finally came out in December, the financing agreement. And you see, even for them, they said, look, we have also debt ceiling and debt limits. And Kenyans want us to borrow more because part of it is grant, a lot of it is a loan.
That's, yeah.
But finally it passed, at least for line 3. Line 3 is from Dandora, coming down all the way. So it comes Juja Road, comes up into the city center, Moi Avenue, Railway City, at the railway headquarters, up to Kenyatta. Eventually, it will go into Juja and on this other side into Ngong. There's a line now we got financing for Jogo Road. That is by the Africa Finance Development Bank, AFDB, Africa Development Bank. It's at early stage. We're really pushing. There's only so much we can do, but we're pushing and saying, guys, we need this. In a few years, we'll be 10.5 million people in Nairobi. 10.5 million. Without mass transit. And a city that works is not a city that everyone has a car. Because the more you build roads or expand road network, the more people buy cars. Remember what happened with Thika Road? They said, it's going to be sorted. Then everyone moved there and bought a car. Today, you don't want to be on that road, Ali. The best is mass transit. When you have a safe, reliable, clean, efficient, timely mode of transport, we leave our cars at home. Yeah. So yes, it's been slow progress. It's of course beyond our exclusive reach as a county. But I've seen the president really keen on making sure that it's done. I mean, he's never met, and I find myself very fortunate because we're the first ones to have a joint sitting where the president is chairing on one side, I'm on the other side, I have my cabinet, he has his team, saying, okay, on lands, what are we doing? On transport, what are we doing? Can we do this? Let's form subcommittees. We're now doing that cooperation agreement. The president is coming on the 5th to address the county assembly of Nairobi. Never done in history. Because he sees that, yes, this city must work, and we must be able to make sure it is well-resourced and well-supported. And so, in that line, even if it's an area that is not per se, because even if you look at the Constitution, things like rail are not devolved function, but we're working together to say, look, why don't you do a metro in the city? There's a huge French mission that's coming, and one of the ministers had told me last year, a friend of mine, she was the Minister of State, Chrysula, that we are looking now beyond Francophone countries in Africa, and you've seen what has been happening, in Mali and the rest. If we gave Abidjan 3 billion euros for their metro, can you imagine what we can do with Nairobi? And so I went and dug out the JICA plan, the master plan, which has the Nairobi metro. Yeah. We did a design review. When the president was going there, I told him, Enda Naita Valali, we need this thing. And so, beyond the limitations of now debt ceiling and the interest repayment, the idea and the vision that, yes, we must do this is there. And he sees it. You must have a metro, an underground metro. It can be done in the city, but it needs that kind of support. So I'm optimistic. I would never give up on our city. We shouldn't give up on it. But we need to understand that these things, they take time, but they take a plan, and we have a plan.
In our lifetime?
For sure. I don't know about octogenarians, but ours. But the rest of us, we should be here.
There is a friend who's asking, good morning, my question to the governor is, why does his askaris harass Uber drivers while picking and dropping in the CBD?
Number one, I've supported Uber drivers completely. Remember, in the Senate, we pushed for there to be regulations because it's really a race to the bottom. You find one company, and Uber drivers is a general term. It's not the company.
It's a taxi.
There are many. We call them
apps.
digital hailing app, whatever, drivers. And so we said there must be a minimum charge per minute, per kilometer. Because I told you 37% of these accidents are in Nairobi.
Yeah.
A huge percentage is these drivers. They drive 20 hours because they have to make ends meet.
Yeah.
Now, what we agreed with them also is to have designated pick-up and drop-off points. You can't just stop everywhere. And so when you're off that point, definitely, action will be taken against you. But I want to be able to have them cover way to report where it is, you're in the right spot.
Yeah.
You're picking, and you pick and go. I mean, all over the world, we've seen these cabs. You've never seen one parked just on the side. But because of this small fee that they're getting, they have to stop. They can't keep moving because of fuel. And so we said there must be a pricing formula that also includes, when fuel goes up, immediately it just goes up. Then if you want to do a specialized service, like we have Uber SUV or Uber Black elsewhere, then you can do that. But number two, there are also the drivers, we call them the Zile Zakarura.
Yeah.
The ones who cannot get into these digital cabs because of the regulations. Your car must be so many years old, etc. And so we're talking to them, where them now turn their vehicles into yellow cabs with a meter. Yeah. So you have a metered cab. So that the mwananchi knows when I'm in this cab, I'm not being conned.
I can see as the meter goes.
Yeah, you can see as the meter goes.
Yeah.
Ati hapa ni elfu sijui pana. It is a legitimate fee. You can see the meter going. It is regulated because that is why they're losing business. Because people don't trust the decision they're making. They know in an Uber I can see on my phone how much it's calculating, or a Taxify or Bolt, etc. So that's something that is coming. And just to give them that order as well. This is a year of order. We've started in the CBD. You've seen how it is. Yes, I mean, 1 hour or two it might falter in the evening. We're changing the shifts, increasing the number of inspectorate. But it's going to be done. It must be done,
So from what you've said, are Uber drivers, these taxi hailing apps drivers, are they allowed to pick and drop in the CBD?
Yes.
And if they are,
we've even painted certain spots for them, which is designated pick up and drop off. Now we're telling the companies in the app to actually, because that is the missing link.
Yeah.
Elsewhere, when you call an Uber, it tells you go and get it from that is a point from which you can get it, especially when you're in the center of cities. In New York, it's like that. In London, it's like that. In Amsterdam, etc. But here, they have not incorporated that. So the Uber driver will come pick you at your feet where you're standing, and not at the designated point. So then they get in trouble with the Kanjo or with the police. So it's something that we're working on with them. We should see progress on that.
You get a chance now in the last few minutes to talk about that project of yours that's just... At least it's working. Hiyo ina work.
Kila kitu ina work.
Hiyo at least ina work.
Food unajua.
Watoto wamefurahi.
Food ni life. Kuna jamaa hapa amesema tap to eat. Hapa I give him an A. Sawa, si kila mtu anakupiga. What he's doing with food for education is good, and may he ensure that this program of Dishing a County goes on even after his term.
It should never end.
Yeah, even after 2032 it will go on. I assure you.
Kwani 2032 utakuwa wapi?
Si tunataka nimemaliza Nairobi. Inshallah. Okay. Let me tell you, Jeff. There's buildings, there's Stadia, there's roads. There's an investment in that. The biggest investment is in our children and in our future. And it's feeding the future. 1 out of 4 children are missing out of school in Nairobi. Nairobi, in the capital. Because of hunger. Shamba ya mawe Nairobi. Ka una chapa, utakosa mali pa kulala na kitu ya kukula. Unfortunately, it's you can die of hunger and your neighbor is having a party. Because we've become competitive to a fault. It's everyone about themselves, And so it really broke my heart when I was a senator, seeing just what the kids were going through. I tried to bring a bill in the Senate about the National School Lunch, fashioned around the National School Lunch Act of the US that started in 1946. It didn't go through. Guys went into elections. So I promised in my manifesto, the first pledge is that we shall feed all our children in our public primary schools. We've built 17 kitchens. People said it can't work. The same way people are saying the roads can't work or the cartels, they said it can't work. They went to court. They said, oh, your priorities are in the wrong place. Why? Because if you're full, you don't feel the hunger of another child or someone's child. I broke ground, I think August 23. In 100 days, I said on 10 kitchens in 100 days. The contractors thought I'm joking. I called them for a meeting in my office. And I explained that you're not just doing brick and mortar. I showed them pictures of those kids. I told them these are the people whose future is securing. They built those 10 kitchens in 100 days, the first 10 kitchens. So we launched the program. That was third term of 2023. We got into 2024, we built another 7 mega kitchens. They're beautiful, and they're beautiful buildings. They're not at the Kajiko too. You should visit one.
Yeah.
The closest here is which one? Mudangari. Mudangari Primary. Some resident associations, said, we cannot have that kitchen around here. It will bring rats and rodents. This elitist buffoonery. I told them, are you serious? Yeah. You're the guys who should be building this kitchen for these kids. Yeah. That was the residents around where? Lokabete. Up that side, Faraslin. I told them, they wrote a letter. I just shook my head. I said, people don't know. When they saw what we built, some of them came and said, man, we are sorry. We can see the vision. Today we're feeding 316,000 children every day at 5 bob, using this tap to it, at 5 shillings. Our partner, Food for Education, they have a mega kitchen in Industrial area that does 60,000 meals, one kitchen. Must be the biggest in the region. And let me tell you, Jeff, the most beautiful thing. By the today at lunchtime, if you guys have time, go to St. George's here and feed the kids.
Happen next door?
Next door. Feed the kids. The love they have, their outcomes have changed. Enrollment has gone up close to 40% now. Enrollment. Attendance is at 100%. I was talking to the head teacher at Hospital Hill, and the head teacher was saying that he has 4,000 kids on his waiting list. Because now every child wants to come to our public primary schools. Of course, now we're increasing the infrastructure. We're building more classrooms. We're doing 1,500 classrooms. The national government is doing 3,500 classrooms. So that we have more kids in the public primary schools. I mean, they are passing the exams. I told you the story of that girl from Kwimbuini who had never been, she's an orphan. She would go to school twice a week, and she was doing badly. That third term, 2023, was her final year in school. And it was the first time for her to go to school every day. She was top 10 in the city. She would never have had that chance because of lack of this food. So this Valentine's Day, I want Nairobians to remember the primary school they went to. On Valentine's Day, come, let's have our kids lunch and let's share love with the kids.
Well, Governor, before we go to 2027, unarudi Nairobi ama unalenga juu?
Mungu mbele, our city has never had a chance to have an administration that has served enough time to make a difference.
Just say the answer. You
so that is why my focus is on serving Nairobians.
So utavai tena na babu aliannounce unakalia fota mmoja anakuja kukungatua.
Hakuna shida, kutakuwa na wengi watatangaza.
Na Sifuna pia.
I don't know, he's not announced, but I mean, it's not my position, it's for Nairobians. Many are called but few are chosen. So tupatane mbele.
Your design.
Mbele iko sawa.
And let me tell you, Jeff, I think this is a year where we're seeing some more optimism. I wish politicians would tone down the siasa, but things will get better. They can't go worse than they did, before. Things will keep getting better.